What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we're talking X-Men 97. We got some crazy MCU rumors, a lot of them, and we might talk about Tales of the Empire. We'll put in as much effort as they did. I just stole that joke from Doug. And speaking of Doug, how's it going, sir?
Well, Heath, let me tell you, I am outstanding. And you know what? You can steal all the jokes that you want because my memory span is, that of a, oh, hey, what's going on? What are we doing today? So, I am so excited to talk X-Men with you. Keith, I, Keith, Keith,
Yes, sir.
have you ever gone this many weeks in a row being this ecstatic to watch a superhero cartoon?
No.
Like in a long time. I mean, this is wild, right?
The best animated series I've ever seen.
The best. I can't even understand how this is occurred. Like I'm literally like beside myself trying to figure out how something this amazing, writing, animation, everything about it is so good, and I can't wait to talk about it with you. I've just Yeah. So Keith, how are you?
I'm excellent, feeling good. Just once again, I'm just blown away at the high quality of this show every week. It just doesn't stop. It's like before it started, I was like, man, I really hope they don't kill the nostalgia of that original X-Men series. And then watch the first episode. It's like, wow, I hope they can keep up this quality throughout. And now I'm like, oh my god, it's almost over, and I'm going to miss it more than anything else in the world.
Right?
But hey, we're talking about it, so let's talk about it because we got Tolerance is Extinction Part 2. And what an episode it was. I mean, it starts off, and I love the fact that there was a lot of distrust for Xavier.
Yeah.
He didn't just come back and they're like, oh, yay, we're back, we're a family, and all this
Like,
stuff.
what were you thinking, man?
And then, I mean, all that they got to do, it's like when they started putting it together, okay, we have to stop Bastion. We have to basically get Magneto to turn the the power back
Or the
on,
entire planet is gonna die.
and we have to do this in a timely fashion. So it's turned on, but we've kind of taken out all of the Prime Sentinels before it
Hmm.
turns back on. So we got two teams. We got a gold team. We got a blue team, which I thought was a nice reference to X-Men
That was
Gold and
cool.
X-Men Blue comics. So
Hmm.
cool, and just all the stuff that was going on. The only it's funny. I had one small little nitpick.
Oh,
The only thing I found when they said Nightcrawler's going to teleport us to Muir Island.
had he never been there before?
Well, he has to teleport to sight. He can't just think of a place and teleport to it. It's sight. So he would have had to have grabbed, and I don't know how many people he can teleport at a time. He would have had to teleport like just hundreds of times to get over there with each person, and it would have absolutely worn him out. Might have might have killed him with all that stress. And I was like, okay, that's a
Huh.
little weird, but
I guess I didn't think of that. I was under the assumption that by this point in time, his powers had grown because I thought I could be misremembering, but I thought in other X-Men media, whether it was the comics or other TV shows or movies, I thought that once Kurt had kind of, I don't want to use evolved, but once he had grown and understood his powers and came to control them better, that he was able to go further distances without actually seeing the place.
not that I've seen, but you could be right. I haven't read every X-Men comic and seen everything, but
I'm
as far as I
going.
knew, he always had to
My
be
my
line of sight.
primary memory is coming from the X-Men Evolution series, where he found out that, and again, this could be different from the way it's portrayed in the comics, but in this series, he found out that his teleportation, he was actually moving into another dimension and then back into our dimension. He was actually moving through dimensions. That's how his teleporting worked. And once he came to like understand how his power actually functioned, he didn't need to actually see it in front of him. As long as he had been to a place before and could visualize it in his mind, then he could teleport there.
Well, it sounds like that's what they're going with. So I
Could
guess
be
my nitpick isn't so valid.
either that, or he just kept poofing, and stopping like every mile or so.
Well, yeah, he would have to. I forget which comic I was reading, but he was going across the ocean, and he was by himself, and he would just pick a point out in the future, bamf there,
hmm
then bamf again,
And
then bamf
if that's
again.
how he was doing it, having to carry all those people, ooh,
But he would have had to do it one at a time, and then bamf all the way
oh boy.
back. But you might be right because they did go to the length of showing us what happens when he teleports in that last
hmm
episode when he pulled Wolverine through, and he kind of saw that dimension, whatever it was he went
Okay,
through.
so that is the same. All right. I wasn't sure if that was like just a unique feature of um X-Men Evolution or if that was like just how his powers worked across
It
X-Men media.
it definitely sounds. I mean, I've seen some of X-Men Evolution. I haven't seen the whole series. I probably should watch it at some point because once again, I thought it was a kiddie cartoon, and I never bothered watching it. But
They
I've seen episodes of it.
it kind of was to some extent. They aged everybody down. And they were all in high school together. It was weird. And when I say they were in high school together, they were literally going to a normal public high school, even though they were living at Xavier's mansion. I know the premise doesn't make any sense. They were going to school with regular humans.
Wasn't the Brotherhood going to that school too?
They were, yeah. And Mystique was the principal,
Oh my god!
and Xavier knew.
But getting back to a
It
good
was
X-Men show,
right. Getting back to a good X-Men.
you know,
I don't know that I have any nitpicks about it just because gosh, yeah, this was such a good episode. Here no, okay, this is not so much a nitpick. This is more of a it's a very minor, very teeny tiny nitpick, and this is just a me thing, really. So, you remember last episode how I was saying I don't understand why everybody is like immediately jumping on the oh, Magneto's a bad guy. We he declared war, he's the enemy. And it seemed like they were pushing quickly, like quicker than they should have, that we need to go back to Magneto. He's a villain, he's a bad guy. And it's like, are you forgetting you were literally just attacked by human sentinel combinations, and had he not done what he did, they would have still probably killed you all.
yeah, it's a good
And
point.
so it was like they finally made it a little bit more clear why what he did was probably the wrong move. The fact that Earth is now dying. I kind of wish now that they had gone to more lengths to explain that in the previous episode, because I had to kind of take one foot back off of the Magneto hype train and be like, oh, okay. See, like when they were just like, oh, yeah, Magneto declared war. It's like, I mean, yeah, but so did Bastion, kind of. But then now when you followed up with, oh, and by the way, he destroyed the magnetic waves of the entire planet and Earth is gonna die. Lead with that. That's what you lead
Okay,
with.
probably wasn't the best move on his part. It was still pretty cool.
It was still pretty cool. The fact that he's that powerful that he's able to actually basically be a giant human EMP. And also, I don't know if you picked up on this, but did you see when he brought back down uh
Asteroid
the
M.
M asteroid M, thank you. Oh my God. I'm calling it the M. I'm like, oh my God, what is it? When he brought back down asteroid M, did you see the Aurora Borealis around it?
No, I didn't notice
No.
that. Very nice.
Magnetic waves.
Yep, that. I didn't know that is a cool touch.
hmm
But everything they do just seems to make such good sense and so cool. Seeing like Xavier and Cyclops and Wolverine, head to Magneto to try to cut that off. And then you see Jean and Storm and Cable, heading to Bastion, and Beast and, Forge make that, the collar that they had used for the Phoenix, earlier.
I love Storm's response too. It was perfect. Boy, we could totally replicate this ability to thunder cracks. Never mind. No, we won't.
That's a no. Got it. Good to know. And, just seeing all of the battles, like them showing up and how well coordinated they are, like Forge, you guys fly down. Me and Forge are gonna handle these Sentinels up in the air, taking them out. Seeing Mr. Sinister. I totally forgot Mr. Sinister was on his side. I just didn't think we would see him again.
After like Bastion's move, it's like Sinister's not that big of a deal anymore. And then when he, it was the same thing as you. He showed up, and I was like, oh right, he's still the thing. I forgot.
And seeing him take control of Cable's mind and use his powers against Jean, and the whole thing, when she like reaches out to Scott, and they could have basically, Xavier had control of Magneto's mind and could have brought the power back on. But Scott's like, you know what? We got to take this hit because they're not ready, and basically takes out Magneto, knocks him out, thinking, okay, he's going to get up and he's going to put the hurting on us, but better us than the entire planet and, the people down fighting Bastion. I thought that was a really selfless move, and I was like, man, that is the Cyclops and the leader that we've never really seen in any of the movies. Or
they have nailed his character in the show. So I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
With when you've got Madeline, when she's under Mr. Sinister's control, she becomes the Goblin Queen, correct? So, with Cable under his control, does he become the Dwarf Prince?
Maybe, yeah. That's a he
We'll
doesn't
just,
have.
Roll a six-sided dice and
And I did like the we had seen it in the preview, the kind of capping on the movies. What'd you expect? Black leather?
Right. Yeah, that was good. I loved that. That was a very nice touch. And as soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh, I know what they were doing. That was a total dig at the first X-Men movie. And it's funny that that they felt that they had to go to those lengths. Was that Bryan Singer?
Yeah.
Forget. Okay, I couldn't. I knew that Kevin Feige had something to do with it, but I wasn't sure what his role was.
He was a producer.
He was one of the producers. Okay.
And the rumor was Bryan Singer had said no X-Men comics on the set.
No comics.
And
Kevin Feige snuck comics on. Yeah. Which, good move. But yeah, I wonder if that was why that line was added, to try and distance itself from like the colorful costumes of the comics. We're not wearing yellow spandex. And now everybody is and not only is everybody in their bright costumes, but they decided to go back to, are those from the 70s, those costumes they were wearing?
Yeah, the costume, the Cyclops X-Men uniform was from the Claremont Byrne run of X-Men. And yeah, the Wolverine one, the Jean Grey Marvel Girl, that was just fantastic. We had heard earlier, I forget the scooper's name, you might get some toast, get some toast or something. I can't remember. But they were saying they were going to get all new uniforms by the end of the season, weeks ago. And seeing that I was like, oh, that'd be cool. I hope they do it. And then seeing it was like, oh, once again.
You're not talking about My Time to Shine Hello, are you?
Yeah, it's My Time to Shine Hello.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, that's the scooper you usually always reference.
Yep. There's another one that's been on the scene, Holyfield News. That we got some MCU rumors later, and a couple are his and a couple are My Time to Shine.
I wasn't
Hello.
sure if there was a new one called I Smell Burnt Toast or something.
My Time to Shine Hello has a separate account, something about toast. I can't remember what it is now.
Okay.
They don't tweet out of it much anymore, but they had two for a while going. But you know what I'd love to?
Nobody tweets out of their accounts anymore.
Oh, that's right. They post.
They post. Very generic.
You don't want to have that branding that everybody used.
Right. I would hate that. At X.com.
Jesus. But you know what? One of my favorite parts of this episode
What?
was when Morph was acting as Sinister, coming with that collar,
Oh
and
yeah.
Bastion was like, "You're not Sinister."
He's too selfish for that.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, so great." He knows exactly
Mhm.
who he's dealing with and who he's
Yep.
partnered with, and knows what they would do in these situations. And it was great because it would have been too easy him just getting up there and putting
But
that collar on him.
was that really their whole plan?
It seemed like it.
Whoops. Maybe should have thought that one through a little bit more.
Yeah, they're probably like, "He'll never figure it out. We got this covered." And yeah, nope. Bastion was a little too smart. Which,
A little bit.
and I don't know if you read any of the '90s X-Men comics. I've read a few. It wasn't my favorite
A
era
few.
of the X-Men,
When
but
whenever I just happened to pick one up, so it wasn't like regular.
when Charles took control of Magneto's mind
Hmm.
and was starting to control him,
Oh, when they merged.
yeah, in the comics, that turns into Onslaught, which was a melding of both of their personas kind of together to create
Hmm.
this thing. And I don't know if that's where they're going with it, but the fact that they had their minds merged like that and was kind of showing it, I was like, I don't know if they're going with Onslaught sooner or later, but it seems like they are definitely going down that path towards bringing Onslaught on.
Can I give just some slight props? So, again, I still have one foot stepped, um, gently off of the Magneto hype train. But I do want to just kind of give like, quick props to Magneto when he told Xavier, like, just exasperating, "Oh, would you shut up?" I'm just like, "Yeah, I feel you, bud." I kind of wish you would too.
I have wanted to say this for so long. Shut up.
Right? We're in the middle of a battle, man. Don't be preaching.
Just let me talk to him. Just shut up. Come on, Xavier. Let's fight it out.
Now, did you expect Rogue and is his name Firestorm? What is his name?
Sunspot.
Sunspot. Did you expect Rogue and Sunspot to join him?
I expected Rogue to, just because how they kind of set it up earlier in the season. I didn't expect Sunspot to. But, him saying, "Hey, my mother turned me over to these Sentinels," kind
That
of
does
made
make.
kind of made sense. So I was like,
I guess he never really officially joined the X-Men, did he?
no.
Hmm.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all goes down, and if we're going to see, after this is all, however it's wrapped up, next week on the final episode of
Seems
season
like
one.
seemed like him and Jubilee had a bit of a falling out there.
Oh, when she burned his card,
Yep.
yeah, they're going to. But it'll be interesting to see who else Magneto recruits for a new Brotherhood if he continues to kind of be at odds with them next season. Are we going to see some of the former brother Avalanche, the Blob, Mystique,
I think
Avalanche,
that I think that would be great.
Toad.
Well, maybe not Toad, but I think it would be cool to see like Avalanche and Blob and um, yeah, I could see like some of the old Brotherhood team coming back. I think that'd be good. I don't know about Mystique. Would at this point in the series is she still aligned with Magneto?
I don't think so. But she may come back just because of what's going on. It seems like this was such a
Mm.
huge event that they may come back. We may see Destiny too, who's, kind of sees the future and knows which, how things go during certain paths. We may even see her join up with the Brotherhood because in the comics, her and Mystique are married. Mystique is always
Mhm.
trying to protect her, and if Destiny feels that joining with Magneto is the right path and or leads them down the right way, we may just see that happen, and that'd be very cool to see because there's
Well, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, speaking of this being a big event, do you think this is going to, have Captain America get involved again? Are we gonna see him come back maybe with his team that he spoke about when he was talking to Rogue?
I think so, And I do think, I don't know if it's going to be too soon, but if they do go down the Onslaught path, I mean,
Hmm.
it took everybody in Marvel Comics to basically stop it. So we could see Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Silver Surfer, maybe even, and anyone from any of the animated shows that they've had, the
I could
Hulk,
easily see that. Just
because
because, like, speaking of the Hawk, we got to see Morph turn into the Hawk, which is great. This series so far has really been, like, the best love letter to Marvel animation of the 90s.
it has. They obviously were fans and went out. And in one of the things I was thinking while I was watching this, while we haven't talked about it yet, but at the end, after Wolverine stabs Magneto, and then he just starts pulling the adamantium basically off of his bones and
Hmm.
ripping it out. You know, it's almost like they have this free reign to do a lot of this crazy stuff because it's not the MCU main timeline. Like they know that they're going to wrap it up in a few seasons and it's just going to be
Hmm.
a multiversal thing. But that's what makes me think that this whole, X-Men 97 is going to wrap up in one big end game type thing where all of this stuff is coming together. Onslaught is basically coming down to destroy the universe, and it's going to take X-Men, Avengers, Fantastic Four, maybe some street level heroes. Maybe we'll get a Daredevil, Power Man, and Iron Fist. Who knows? But it'll take all of that, and they could wrap that in, kind of put that in with right before Secret Wars, the movie comes out, and have that tie into the big Avengers movie that is coming out. That would be, if they could pull
That
that
would be
off, that'd
cool.
be phenomenal.
And you know what? It would be good to see Iron Fist on the small screen since Marvel has yet to produce that anything with him. So yeah.
Yeah, he's never. Well, he's been in animation. He was in Avengers: Earth Mightiest Heroes,
Oh, right. Okay, okay,
but other
yeah.
than that, he's never been in any other
Never been
media
never been on TV at all, ever.
outside of comics. Yeah, he's never been in any
Yeah,
other media. It's too bad too, because he's a great character.
yeah, real shame. Don't have Carrie here to yell at us.
Yep, she's gonna be mad if she watches this later. She's gonna be like, "Are they dissing my boy Iron Fist again?" But one thing I was thinking while I was watching this too: who's the one character that we saw earlier on in this season that we haven't seen? We haven't seen Bishop, so I wonder if Bishop is
Oh.
going to make a little appearance next the season finale, because he's a powerhouse and they may definitely need him because right now things are not looking good. Their plan to stop Bastion has failed.
Hmm.
Magneto has not turned back on the magnetic core of the earth, so it's dying, and that's not a good thing. So they're going to need some help, and I don't know how they're going to wrap this all up in one episode. I don't know if they're going to wrap it up in one episode. I mean, if they do it, they're probably going to do it great because this whole season has
Do
been
you
that way.
think they're going to limit themselves to a 22-minute episode?
I don't. I think we
I
may
Because I don't
get.
see how they could.
I think we're going to get another 50-minute, 55-minute episode to kind of, if they're going to wrap all of this up and
Hmm.
have they could have another type cliffhanger. Like we may
They could.
see,
They might leave it on a cliffhanger.
I thought for sure when Cable and Jean Grey were kind of going at it at a point, I thought we were going to start seeing a little Phoenix power coming out of her. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, is that what we're getting? Is that how they're going to kind of save the day? They didn't show it, but they still could show it in the season one finale. She may have to tap into that power that she doesn't want to use, and then we could see what happens when you have that kind of power later on again. Obviously, they can't do the Dark Phoenix saga again because they always did it. They already did it better than any other media outside of the comics. So,
Yeah.
but there's so much that needs to be wrapped up in this first season, and it's one of those ones where I'm like, this is great because I don't know how they're going to do it.
Hmm.
I mean, they've done such a good job of writing themselves into all these plot lines coming together, and I'm like, okay, how are they gonna get Magneto to do this? The Xavier plan failed, so he's gonna have to do it because he wants to, or it benefits him in some way, and I don't know how they're going to pull that out. And how are they going to stop Bastion unless maybe Bishop comes back and is able to put him down, and then but they would still, I guess, one of the main things they wanted to do was take control of those Prime Sentinels, so they wouldn't be attacking and hopefully getting them help. And obviously Beast and Forge think they found a way to kind of get the techno virus kind of out of them and kind of turn them back into humans. But if they're not under Bastion's control, are they just going to be running wild? So
Oh, maybe. I hadn't thought of that.
because part of their plan was not only to stop Bastion but take control of those Sentinels, and if no one's controlling them, what's going to happen? Are they just going to still be shut down so they can get the help they need from Beast and Forge, or are they going to?
Well, I think that's what the X-Men think.
That is definitely what the X-Men think.
Wow, how crazy would it be like if we thought, we're sitting here thinking, oh, okay, they're kind of putting things back to the status quo. We're going to have Charles back, and he's going to get the X-Men together, and they're going to go up against Magneto and the Brotherhood, only to find out, like, oh, nope, actually, they're going to have to, put their differences aside, and these Prime Sentinels are still the bad guy, and we haven't figured out what we're going to do. But you know what I think would be an even better twist?
What a twist!
I don't think this will happen, but I think it would be a great twist if they somehow found a way to convince Bastion to accept that he's a mutant.
Oh, I like that. If he's like, oh my God, you're kind of right. I'm a technopath. That's kind of a mutation.
Mm-hmm. Or at the very least, since that word seems to only apply to people who have the X gene, if he doesn't have the X gene and he's a mutate?
Yes.
Because they had that conversation with Spider-Man in the 90s X-Men series. Spider-Man came to visit. He was dealing with a mutation where he was turning more into Man-Spider.
Yep.
And they had to convince him, hey man, I'm sorry, you're a mutant. We don't shut that off. We're not about that. And he's like, well, if you can't help me, who will? Ah, Mary Jane. Spider-Man. Thank you.
Very well done.
But yeah, so I think if they were able to, if they've had that conversation with people in the past, even if Bastion does not have the X gene, it isn't technically a mutant, the fact that he has mutant-like abilities, I think that could, come into play where they need to have a heart-to-heart with him and be like, hey, dude, you're really not that much different from us.
Yeah.
And either he's going to accept it and realize the error of his ways, or he's going to realize that he can't live with that knowledge.
Or we may see, Mr. Sinister turn on him and kind of help the X-Men to kind of shut him down, knowing that maybe he got what he needed teaming up with Bastion, and he's now
What if
ready
Mr. Sinister put him in a tube and experimented on him?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
That may definitely happen.
Or Cable takes him to the future or something. I don't know. There's so many different ways that this could go down, and any of them are plausible, really, just because this has opened the door for as many of the different fantastical comic book elements that you can dream of. I don't know. I truly do not know that what we've seen in this animated series could possibly be portrayed as well in live action. I think it needs to be animated to be this good.
I agree. I don't think they could ever live up to this in a live action series. It has been well,
They've tried, but
they've taken their time. Somebody said they were talking about this week's episode, saying it felt kind of rushed. Did you get that at all? I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, everything seemed perfectly paced to me. I was like, okay, they're
maybe I'm just used to this kind of cartoon, so it doesn't bother me. But no, I didn't feel like it was rushed.
Well, only one person I saw was talking about it, and I read it, and I'm like, I'll never say anyone is wrong, because it's all subjective. We all know that. But I was like, God, I didn't get that at all. I wonder if I'm wrong. But then everyone else talking.
You are, then I am too.
Everyone else talking about it was like, oh my God, it's incredible. And you know what? You know what the tolerance is Extinction. You know what I was thinking? It's
What?
similar to the Siege of Mandalore. How that final
Uh,
arc on the Clone Wars was just perfection. And this is the same
oh
thing.
yeah.
They are doing such a wonderful job with wrapping it up. Obviously, you have one episode to go, and I can't imagine them dropping the ball at this point because they've done such a great job. But if we get a 50-minute episode wrapping all this up at this high
Hmm.
a level, it'll be very Siege of Mandalore, just on
Oh,
how
I can
well it
see
was
it.
done. And then we'll need to see this on the big screen at some point. We need to see Tolerance's
Oh my
Extinction
gosh,
on the big
yes.
screen.
That would be so amazing. I would love that.
If they were playing this at the theater,
I'd go and see it.
I would go see it too. It would be fantastic.
It would be. Just because I mean, I wait. I've been waiting in anticipation for these episodes. Like the episode ends and I'm like, "Oh my God, is it next week?"
Well,
I need to see more.
and for me too, I sometimes get up early before work and I watch it before work. I can't always. And like
Hmm.
last week, I had an 8 o'clock meeting followed by meetings all day, and I couldn't watch it till lunch. And it's no joke. Like I'm sitting in
Yeah.
meetings before lunch, just going, I need this to be over. I want to. It's time to eat and watch X-Men. It's like I'm gonna have a bowl of cereal for lunch, just to make this very Saturday morning cartoony. And God, it's like it. As soon as it's out, like at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can think of nothing else until I watch it. Like I'm useless at work Wednesday mornings until I watch it. Especially if you've watched it and you're hitting up on Slack. Hey, has anyone seen it yet? It's an 11 out of 10, and then I'm just like, oh my god.
I honestly thought that you were gonna beat me to it because I wasn't able to get to it until lunch.
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh my God, I was so busy yesterday. I did not have time to watch." And then, like, finally, it's getting to be, I think, like around 11:30. I'm like, "Okay, you know what? That's it. I'm taking my lunch break. I'm gonna watch X-Men."
it was funny because you put it in Slack that you're gonna watch it. I'm like, hey, so am I. I like just got off a meeting and I'm running upstairs. Okay, I can't do anything. I need to do something quick for lunch and turn on X-Men and just. Oh. You know, we may even see if Sinister does turn on
Hmm.
him still controlling Cable and
Oh yeah, could
putting
be.
him against him. And obviously Sinister is not going to put himself in harm's way you know, unless he has to. And so he may put that up, and Jean may be up there, and we may see a little Phoenix coming out. We may see Bishop come back and help. But
I hope so. I really do want to see Bishop come back. I'm mixed on whether, Jean releases her Phoenix powers because I I feel like whenever she does, we have to deal with I'm going to lose control plot line again.
but we may not even see. It may just be a subtle, like, fiery thing that no one even notices
Oh,
yet. And they
okay.
may build that up over time, and it may be something that could wrap up in an onslaught, finale with a
Right back. Give
complete
me one
crossover.
second.
Oh yeah. But what do you guys think? What do our fellow nerds think about X-Men '97? Are you loving it as much as we are? I know Attack on Show has been all in on this, but what do you guys think? Let us know. It has been so many people, I think myself included, were worried about bringing this back, and if it was just a nostalgia thing and it was, not going to be this quality, but it has been, the best animated TV series we've seen. If this is what Marvel is going to do with their animation, do it all. We need Spider-Man, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, an Iron Man show, a Thor show, a Submariner show. If this is the level of quality that Marvel animation is going to be, let's do it all.
I was right there with you, talking about kind of being concerned about this. Honestly, I was a little indifferent because my initial thought was, why are they doing this? Why are they bringing back, something from the 90s? Are they really that hard up for material? This just sounds like it's not going to be nothing more than a cash grab. And I thought, at best, it's going to be something that, we'll have to watch for the channel. We'll take maybe 5-10 minutes discussing it, and then we'll get on to something, like amazing, like the Bad Batch. We'll talk about the Bad Batch and all of this other stuff coming out. We can talk about all that stuff. And then come to find out the show is so good that it's like overshadowing shows like The Bad Batch. And it's just like, I watched X-Men 97 first, and then I'm like, I'll watch Bad Batch because I have to, but like, it's not going to be as good.
Well, that's the thing. Bad Batch was great, but so
It was,
overshadowed by how
right?
tremendous X-Men '97 is. At
It's
first I
like,
was
how do you
watching.
compete?
Yeah, at first I was watching Bad Batch first, and then because I'm like, oh, it's
Yep.
ending first, and I've seen a lot, and then it's like, nope, X-Men '97 is first on this list. I don't want to
Same.
see because that episode when Spider-Man appeared, I won't forget. I had to wait till lunch to watch it, and I was in a meeting and I was just scrolling through Twitter. I mean, paying perfect attention to the work meeting, and I scrolled and I saw
And they
Spider-Man,
ruined it for
and
you.
I was like,
Damn.
but you know what? Honestly, it didn't ruin it. Knowing he was there, I was like, okay, it sounds like they did a good job, so I'm going to,
Mm.
be patient and wait for my lunch. And then when I watched it and how I was like, oh man,
Thankfully,
bring on Spider-Man '98, please.
thankfully, I did not go on social media at all until I watched that episode, and I'm so glad that I let it surprise me with it. It was just so amazing, and like I said, this episode has kind of followed suit. Pretty much everything in the series so far has been really, really good or mostly good.
Yeah,
And I know I said this last week, but I think the only tiny gripe that I had with the series so far was the Motendo one.
yeah, that was. And Vigilante Vibes on YouTube said it's a 97 out of 10. And yeah, it
Yeah, I love it. 97 out of 10. I get it.
just they've done no wrong. Little
Right?
things here and there. Bringing Nightcrawler onto the team has been one of my
Hmm.
favorite things because I've always been a huge Nightcrawler fan. And we talked about it a couple
Nightcrawler's
weeks ago.
fine.
Hey, we will not be taking any dissing of Nightcrawler on the show.
If he accidentally bamfs over the ocean and, doesn't bamf out, no harm, no foul. It's okay. Show will go on.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare, sir! But and it seems like I mentioned earlier. I feel like they just feel like they can do whatever they want because it isn't this main timeline. It's going to be,
And good.
and it has made it so much better. They're not, there's no one saying, well, you can't rip out Wolverine's adamantium, skeleton because we're gonna need him for this Disney Plus series later on. They're just
Hold
like,
my magnets.
yeah, they're like, do it. You can do whatever you want, and it has been great. There's no worries about, well, we need him on this show later, and it has just been wild and crazy and doing things that I never thought they would do, and it's all worked, and it has been the absolute best animated show I've ever seen.
Hmm. And speaking of that scene with Magneto and Wolverine, I will say I understand where Wolverine is coming from. Uh, you know, knowing that he's lived for so long and he's fought in so many wars, of course he would have a deep understanding of what that's like. And of course he would be the kind of guy that would be like, no, 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 I need to stop the dude who's literally trying to hit the nuclear button because I don't want to fight in yet another war. So
Yeah,
like I get it. I get why Wolverine made the move that he did, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Understand, bud. But kind of a weird counter move. Magneto would be like, you know what? I'm done. I'm sick of this. You know what? I should have done this a long time ago. And just like, I'm gonna rip the metal out of your body.
that's the thing too. He was just like, that's it. You, how dare you
Yeah,
put your
yeah.
filthy hands on me? And I was like, they just did that. I cannot believe it. Okay, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna rewind it and come back. They did do
Right?
that. Okay. Oh wow. Oh. And now I have to wait a week. Great. Thank you,
And,
Disney Plus.
and just Charles, yelling out almost in pain, Magneto, for the love of God, don't.
Yeah. And then Magneto putting the helmet on Charles.
Right?
I was like, oh, that's
When I saw him do that, I'm like, why did he never think of doing that before? like all this time. Just like it, yeah, obviously it works both ways. He wore the helmet to block Charles' psychic connection, or
Yep.
from getting into his mind. But shoot, he could have just cut it off at the source.
I always thought it was funny too. So many villains in the X-Men villains had like the Juggernaut's helmet was so
Hmm.
Charles couldn't get into his head. And
Yeah.
they did that a lot. I think at least two times.
Well, when you got like the world's most powerful psychic just kind of willy-nilly hopping into people's brains whenever he wants, maybe you start making brain helmets.
You kind of have to. You don't want to be stopped that quickly. And when
Hmm.
it's the Juggernaut, nothing. He's unstoppable unless you get in his head. So
Speaking of that, minor tangent real quick. Um, I was watching Deadpool 2 the other night, and of course they have Juggernaut on there. And I love all of the comic book references in that movie. And I love when Deadpool, when the first instinct is, and I don't even think they had a psychic with them, but the instinct of everybody, because anybody who has ever fought Juggernaut, is to immediately jump on him and start unlatching his helmet.
yep.
And usually they're doing that so that way Charles can hit him with a psychic blast. I don't know what their plan was in Deadpool 2, unless they were going to go with the implication that X-Men 97 did, and that their version of Cable also had psychic abilities.
Well, he's always had some telekinetic abilities. I don't
But I
know.
wasn't sure if they were going to change that for
Right for
the
Deadpool
Deadpool
too.
version.
Yep. Yep. I haven't
It
watched Deadpool 2 in
got
a
it got
while.
me thinking about that.
No, I like it. I like it. Well,
Because
should we rate this episode?
I think we should. I think we should. So, while I absolutely love Vigilante Vibes, I love that you rated this a 97 out of 10. I think that is perfect. Um, I am going to go ahead and stick with our nerd scale, and I'm going to rate this one a 10 out of 10. Once again, it had everything going for it. It has beautiful animation, very crisp, very clean. It's got wonderful shots where, like, I put it in our thumbnail if you end up checking that out. The shot where you've got Charles kind of in the lower corner, and then you've got Magneto, and he's screaming in pain as Professor X is trying to enter his mind. Shots like that are just filled throughout this animation. You can tell when they were storyboarding this and they're coming up with how are we going to draw this, how are we going to animate it. You can tell they put a lot of love, a lot of thought into how it was going to play out on screen. And not only that, but the lines, they don't like overquip like the MCU movies. So every now and again, when we do get a little funny line, I think it makes it all the better. And when Scott made his little dig at the original X-Men movie, what did you think we were going to wear? Black leather? I loved it. That was great. But yeah, everything about this has been so good. I look forward to this series every week, and I want to see the next one right now. I need to see it now. It's so good. So easy 10 out of 10.
You know, in lockstep with you on this. Such an incredible episode. My one little nitpick about Nightcrawler teleporting everybody to Scotland from New York just didn't seem reasonable to me. But I don't dwell on that stuff because the music, the voice acting, the animation, you kind of talked about it. It was so good. They were taking, scenes out of comics and making it their own and doing such a great
Mhm.
job that, they're paying homage to these great, scenes from the comic books way back when and just making it
Oh,
their
yeah.
own and just creating their own story and doing it their own way, but taking just enough to make it familiar enough to any comic book fans. And it has been exactly what an X-Men show should be. I mean, it's about, them not, people hating them because they're different, not still fighting the good fight, even though all these people hate them, doing the Genoshan massacre, leading
Yeah.
with Bastion. I did not think this first season was going to go this hard. Even with how good it's been, I was like, okay. And they're just fitting all of this wonderful storytelling and character, world building in for this universe. And it just seems nonchalant. It's not being rushed. It's not overcrowded in any way. It is just absolute perfection with it. And that's why, I mean, another 10 out of 10. It's amazing to me how great this show has been, just nonstop. You think, they're going to have a drop off in quality, and they just don't. And just makes me more hyped up for the finale. I can't wait to see it, but I'm going to be sad when it's done.
Same. And I don't know. You're on Twitter a little bit more than I am, but did you see Bo DeMayo's tweet about not skipping the intro?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
It's hilarious. So not that I would, just because first off, I love the subtle changes and tweaks that they keep making to the intro. So it's like don't skip it because of that. But also like I mean, the song you can't skip that. But he had
Bum, bum, bum.
he tweeted, he said, anyone who skips the intro, I'm killing the X-Men or something like that, or I'm killing your favorite character. It's like, whoa, bro, come on, man.
Dude, him tweeting out that the meme I sent in our X-Men'97 channel where Wolverine's looking at the picture and it says adamantium, skeleton in the
Yeah.
picture. He tweeted that out.
Oh, that was from him.
Yes. I was just like, oh my God, that's too good.
I worry, and maybe it's unnecessary, but I worry about next season with him not being involved.
And I hope that a lot of this was the writers who were doing it. As a showrunner, I don't know how much he probably has some, influence on the story they're going and everything. But the writing has been great too. So I'm hoping that continues and it can continue at this. The great thing is too, he was fired by them. You don't hear him saying anything bad about it. Just him hyping the show, just showing what a fan he is. I mean, I ended up following him on Twitter, not because I was like, oh, he did the X-Men show, just because he's so great about it. He answers questions and he'll talk about the show and choices that they made and why they made it. And for a guy that, Marvel Studios let go, which we still don't know why, I don't know if we ever will. He's certainly not talking about it. Marvel Studios isn't talking about it. But, man, he has created an absolutely dynamic show. And I pray it can continue because Marvel has said they want to make as many seasons of this as possible.
They should. It's so good. They've got a winner right there.
Yeah.
Do not let it go to waste.
And they said they want to get production, back to back, so we don't get those long gaps like we got for Invincible because that can kill a show. It's so we've talked about this a couple times on this show. It's one thing. It's good that we don't have this old TV model where it's fall, new shows come out, you better have your shows ready and ready to go. Because the quality can definitely suffer if you don't have the right storylines or time to get everything together and make things good. But then again, if you wait years to get it right because you want it to be perfect, and then people lose interest. And it's like, oh, that show, I didn't know it was still on. I don't know what Invincible's ratings were for the second season. I know, most people who loved it were like, yeah, I can't wait for it to be back. But there was probably some casual people who watched season one who were like, I didn't know it was even coming back.
Are you supposed to get people hyped for the rest of the season when it's only 4 episodes? Like that was rough for me. Even I was like, wait, was it good? Am I hyped for this? Yeah, I guess. It did turn out to be great. It was really good. They were amazing episodes. Really amazing episodes. But, for a minute there, I was like, I don't know. I gotta like get myself back into it because it's been so many months since we last saw it.
Yeah, we got the first 4 episodes, which were really good, great. And then a couple months, 3 months, 4 months. It's like, when are they getting the end of this? What is going on? It's 4 episodes. Just show it to us. But it did end up being worth the wait. I mean, they do. Yeah. Once again, the writers of that show, much like the writers for X-Men'97, just love the comics, and it shows in the way they present the characters and write it and everything else. Changes they make are usually for the better to fit an overall story. So, keep it up, animation. You guys are doing a great job.
Keith, do you mind if I speak to Disney real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hey there, Disney. How you doing? It's the old pal Doug from Not Your Status Quo, #1 YouTube channel in all time, best podcast in the entire world. Hey, how's it going? I know it's been a while since we've had a talk, but Disney, don't drop the ball on this one. This is a really good show. Also, Disney, at the same time, please, do not abuse your animators. Don't take advantage of them. Don't rush them. Don't crack the whip. Don't make the animation suffer because you're forcing them to get subpar product out the window. You know what? Take a note from the Spider-Verse movies. They knew that they wanted to keep with that top-tier animation that we've come to expect. And so they told the fans, you know what? We know that you're waiting on this, but we're asking that you wait a little bit longer. Just don't drop the ball on it. Don't go radio silent. Let us know if you need to give them more time to make the animation as crisp and as good as we've come to expect. Let us know. Tell us why. But don't leave us in the dark. Thanks, Disney. Good talk.
Well said. Well said. Well, I believe that is the end of our X-Men 97 portion. Are you ready for a little rumor mill rundown?
Hold on. Rumor mill rundown. That's right. It's two shock jocks talking about rumors and their mills and running them down.
Wah, wah, wah.
Impressive.
Yes, I am very ready. Keith, lay those rumors on me, you funky white boy.
Okay, I've put them in a little bit of order to kind of make sense a little bit, but there's
Cool.
tons, and they're all over. We're going to start with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wait, stop. I need you to rearrange the order.
Okay, what do you want to talk first?
Most plausible to least plausible.
Oh, shoot, that's going to take a while. Okay.
Never.
But this one, I like this one, and I think
Okay.
I think this one is very feasible. We should do that when we talk about these, because a lot of these, I just put them in here because some, totally undocumented channels making these crazy things. But this one, I really like.
Okay.
Deadpool and Wolverine
Mm-hmm.
are going to reference Frank Castle, a.k.a. the Punisher.
I can see that.
He's
That seems... Yeah.
he's
Totally
suppo-
within the realm because Deadpool references comic book characters all the time.
And supposedly he rebelled against Cassandra Nova and was never seen again. And here's the kicker. It's Thomas Jane's Punisher.
Oh. Oh, really? Okay. Not where I thought you were going with this.
And it's funny because in that scene of Pym Falls from the trailer where you see, Deathbird and all those other characters, Pyro, you see the Russian who is a Punisher villain as part of it. So I saw that and I'm like, this makes a whole lot of sense. So I think that's now someone may just have said, hey, I saw a Punisher villain, so I'm going to make up this rumor. But that one seems pretty plausible.
Speaking of the Scott Lang scene, did you see that scene that did it get leaked or what's the deal with that where Deadpool makes
Oh, no, they released it.
comment about Okay, all right. I wasn't sure. It just seemed like really weird that they felt that. Do you think that's actually in the movie or do you think that's a cut scene?
I think it's going to be in the movie because that seems like something he would say. But it could be just a cutscene too. Maybe they filmed it and were like, "Now we better not put it in a movie, but we'll release it." Because they do have that scene from the diner and.
Mm-hmm.
And then, are you ready for some other rumored cameos? We've heard some of these before. But
Oh yeah. Yeah, I want to know who was also supposed to be in this.
Jennifer Garner will show up as Elektra. And a lot
I
of
think I
people,
remember hearing about that before.
And a lot of people think they saw her arm in the trailer.
Okay.
Wesley Snipes as Blade.
That one I don't know about.
I have a tough time believing it because supposedly he was a nightmare on the set of Blade Trinity.
Falling out with Marvel.
Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds was in Blade Trinity, and I don't think he enjoyed working with Wesley very much, but he may put that behind and bring him on. Now here are some ones that I think are pretty much confirmed: James Marsden, Cyclops, Femke Janssen, Jean Grey, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Daphne Keane. Now, here's something about Daphne Keane that I thought was cool. She's going to don the Wolverine uniform from the comics, too.
Okay.
Much like things. So hopefully that happens as X-23. I'm sorry.
That would be sweet.
As Wolverine. Channing Tatum, which we've heard a lot. And he's
Yeah,
going to be
yeah,
playing
yeah.
Gambit. Chris Evans as the Human Torch.
Nice.
Blake
That's gonna be
Lively
fun.
as Lady Deadpool.
Of course.
And Taylor Swift. Possibly playing Dazzler.
Oh, I thought you were going to say she's just going to be there as Taylor Swift.
But and the funny thing was, like Sean Levy, the director of the movie, Ryan Reynolds, and Blake Lively went to a Chiefs game with Taylor Swift. And I think that's where all of those rumors started swirling, because they've asked, Sean Levy about it. He's like, "Oh, I'm not allowed to talk about that. I can't say anything." So,
Rather than giving a straight yes or no, just I can't talk about it now.
Yep. And Ryan Reynolds and Wolverine, oh my God, sorry, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, they were asked by, I think, Empire Magazine about something, about any other, appearances or anything, and they're like, "I don't feel comfortable talking right now," kind of jokingly saying it, but pretty much hinting that they're going to be back. Which leads me to the next big Deadpool Wolverine rumor.
All right.
They're going to travel to the final battle in Avengers Endgame. At one point in the movie.
I feel like you've mentioned this one before. This sounds familiar.
Well, we have talked about looking like the scene from Ultron, and supposedly they're going to be visiting a lot of scenes from phases 1 through 3. And that one seems legitimate. I mean, we've seen things that look like Age of Ultron in the trailer. We know that they're working with the TVA or against the TVA. They're in the TVA at times. So a lot of that seems, to me, very plausible. Makes sense. It'll be cool to revisit some of these scenes, because we know when we saw Loki in the TVA, they were replaying his, greatest moments and all that other stuff. So that definitely sounds like something that could happen. And once again, I mentioned it before. No one has said anything about what it is, but supposedly the end credits scene of Deadpool and Wolverine is just going to completely blow everybody away. And it's funny because all these scoopers are always like, "Yep, I know what it is," and it's going to swipe everybody out. Rob Liefeld has said, yes, it's amazing, and no one's ready for it. So a lot of people saying they know what it is. Who knows if they actually do? Well, obviously, we have, what, about 2 months? 2 months
too long.
left.
2 months too long.
2.5 months. Because we got June 9th, July 9th. Oh, wow, it's way too long. But it'll be here before we know it. Okay, now here's a new one.
Okay.
We've kind of heard it before, and then it died down, and now it's heating back up.
All right.
Disney Plus is creating a limited series that is going to be Captain America returning all of the Infinity Stones.
Okay.
And Chris Evans is going to be in it, and it could be the mystery project that Scarlett Johansson is producing.
I would be fine with that. Sure.
And the thing is, we know Bob Iger has said we got to get back. They've taken too many chances. We need to get back to some of the, surefire hits. And I think Chris Evans coming back as Captain America to, show what happened when he returned the Infinity Stones would definitely be a huge hit on their hand.
It would at least offer some answers for the questions that people have been asking. Like, I think one of the biggest ones has been, okay, well, what is he going to do when he has to be face to face with the Red Skull again?
Yeah.
And, what is it going to look like when he has to inject the Reality Stone back into Natalie Portman?
Giddy up.
Just lay down real quick. This is going to only sting for a minute.
I'm so sorry. I'm friends with Thor. Just please.
Right. You know my boyfriend?
Where's he at? Don't worry about it. He's fine. He made a terrible movie, but we're not talking about that. But, okay, now, moving on. X-Men MCU movie.
Okay.
It is going to release right after Avengers 5 and
Okay.
take place in the alternate universe that we saw in the Marvel's end credit scene.
Okay.
Yeah, seems legit. Some
Sure.
Avengers and X-Men are united as a team in this universe, which reminds me of the Uncanny Avengers run in Marvel Comics when they made a unity squad to show their support for mutants when, the hate was very high for them. Happened during
Hmm.
the Fall of the Mutants run that just happened. And then heroes in this reality have come into contact with Kang before. So
Yeah, that's
kind
correct.
of
So we are still sticking with a Kang storyline.
that is Avengers 5 is supposed to be Kang centric, just not called the Kang Dynasty anymore.
Hmm. All
So,
right.
of course, we don't know if Giancarlo Esposito is going to be playing Kang, but
I was about to say, do you have any rumors that say whether they plan on recasting?
that is what they say it's going to happen. For a while, it was the Coleman guy from The Walking Dead, and then when Giancarlo Esposito said he was cast in an MCU show and he'll be appearing soon, people started thinking it was Kang, which would make sense. I think he'd be a great Kang, but I also wondering if he's going to show up in Agatha as some witch or warlock or more. Who knows? But it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see what they do with him because he's such a, we stand Giancarlo Esposito, so we're looking forward to anything he's in. And
At least
then,
until he goes on a crime spree too, I guess.
yes, then we'll unfortunately have to let him go. But Professor X and Binary are going to be the main focus of the universe, and the Bangles are going to be a key factor throughout the film.
Hmm.
Casting is going to begin early next year, months before the production. And then here's the one that I don't understand, don't want it to happen, makes me want to scream no like Michael Scott from The Office. Marvel wants Dwayne The Rock Johnson to play Apocalypse.
Okay.
I don't see him doing that. I don't just it doesn't make sense to me. I don't see that being a quality thing. I don't want him to play him. Nothing against Rock personally. He's made some movies I've enjoyed, some I haven't enjoyed so much, but I just don't see him being able to pull off Apocalypse. Just doesn't seem to have the gravitas to do so. But I could be wrong. If he gets cast at it, it's great. Because I was all on board with, Oscar Isaac being Apocalypse.
Hmm.
Then he showed up in a Power Ranger outfit, and I was like, okay, what is going on here? This does not make any sense.
You know, if he learned how not to play a character from Black Adam, then I'm for it. I think he tried to turn Black. I could tell that he has a lot of love for the character and a lot of love for comic book characters in general, like almost on the same level that I would say Ryan Reynolds does. But he wanted to play it, I think, a little too goofy, and he also wanted to jumpstart this person who is primarily a villain into a hero in the movie, and I don't know if that was the right way to go. So if he has learned anything, if he took anything away from that production, then sure, I could see it happening. I mean, I didn't think what's his name would make for a good Thanos until we saw him.
Yeah, true.
So, and I also thought that John Cena getting his own superhero show was going to be ridiculous and that it wouldn't be any good. And it turned out that, I friggin'
Not only was
loved
it ridiculous, but it was awesome.
it was awesome. So, you know what? Sure. I'm not going to scream no just yet. We'll see if it's any good. I'm not gonna, like jump on the hype train. I'm not gonna be like, oh, yay, cool. I'm hesitant, but when it comes to casting decisions, I don't I don't want to sound pessimistic or cynical or anything, but like I'm so indifferent towards casting decisions anymore just because every time I hear them and I'm proven wrong, it's just like, well, shit, I guess I gotta wait for the movie. I gotta wait to find out. Maybe these people will actually be good. Maybe somebody saw something that we just don't from a picture, you know? So who knows?
Excellent point. I can't argue that. There's been so many times Michael Keaton as Batman, people were up in arms. He's a comic actor, and
Yeah,
then he
yeah,
was
that's true.
the
Yeah.
best, one of the best Batmans. Heath Ledger as the Joker, nobody understood it, and he ended up just being so great. So yeah, there's a lot of times
I
people are
remember
like,
thinking that back then too, because the only thing I knew Heath Ledger from at that time was some like rom-com that he was in with Melissa Joan Hart. And I'm like, he's gonna be the Joker? No, that's gonna be terrible. That's a stupid move.
how dare they? Okay, next rumor:
All right.
Black Panther 3 is in development, with Ryan Coogler set to direct.
Okay.
Makes sense. I mean,
Sure, but like, what's it about?
well, Shuri is going to still be the Black Panther, and
Okay.
the U.S. and others will try to use Wakanda for their resources and vibranium, which will
Oh
lead into
God.
war with the U.S.
Yeah, that tracks.
It's kind of what they, and once again, this could be one of those rumors where it kind of looked like it was leading that way in Wakanda Forever. So
hmm
seems like it could be. Maybe we get Doom involved this time because we do know
That'd be
Doom has
nice. I would like that.
had his things against Wakanda and the Black Panther. So that'd be cool. Okay, now Ghost Rider is coming to the MCU.
Oh yeah, Nicolas Cage is back.
Not only getting his own Disney Plus show, but will also be in Doctor Strange 3.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see that. All right.
The I can see him getting his own show because we've heard, and supposedly he's already been cast, and the
hmm
announcement's coming this fall. But Doctor Strange 3, the post credit of Multiverse of Madness, sort of set up all these incursions, and the Dark Dimension, and you know Earth Clea comes because the 838 or whatever that was is incursion,
hmm
having an incursion. I don't know how Ghost Rider fits into an incursion story like that, unless he's from one of the worlds that the incursion is happening and he just helps. I don't know. I thought having him in Doctor Strange 3 just seemed a little bit out of place
What,
because he's about vengeance and
what was the name of that game that you were playing? Like we did one episode of it.
oh my gosh, it was the
The one where there
Midnight
is
Midnight Suns.
is that what they're setting up, you think? Are they trying to get the team together? They're gonna
Oh,
get the crew together,
probably.
do a Midnight Suns thing, and of course Iron Man's got to be there because he was, famously the guy in the science suit, belongs on the Magic team, just like in the game.
Yep.
But no, that's as soon as you said Ghost Rider would be in Iron and Doctor Strange, that was kind of my first thought. Okay, maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're eventually trying to do a setup, and if Marvel decides they want to go back to their roots of taking, several movies and shows to set up something in the future, be a good opportunity. Get them to know each other, even if it is like, the fact that if he's on a world that's dealing with an incursion, if it's just like a little one-off cameo, if it turns out that they're trying to, and I hope that this isn't the case, this is just my theory brain going out of control. Hopefully they aren't deciding to change Ghost Rider's thing from hunting demons to like hunting dark dimension things.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
I hope that isn't like the direction that they're going in, But yeah, there could be a number of different things. It could just be a small cameo, but it could serve to set up, a future Midnight Suns thing.
And they may need his power to help stop the incursion. You're right. Probably. Could be, if done right. Could be
And if
really
they
good.
bring Nicolas Cage back, oh yeah.
Now, another Disney Plus series is supposedly in the works.
hmm
Excalibur, with Brian Braddock as Captain Britain, and basically
Uh-huh.
they're investigating the multiverse, basically using the Captain Britain corpse, to investigate the multiverse because certain Captain Britons are being exterminated and realities are dying. So they're going to be
Oh.
investigating incursions, which once again tracks for where the multiverse is going, but very easily could be made up based on what we already know. But I would love it. The Excalibur comics have always been really entertaining. Captain Britain would be a welcome addition to the MCU. So, and some notable mutants will be introduced who were always a part of the Excalibur team. So that'd be good. And Olivia Colman is set to reprise her role as Sonya Falsworth in this project from Special Investigation.
She was actually a good addition. Like that show was god awful, but she was good in it. I think my favorite scene with her was when she was hunting down some of those Skrull insurgents. And she goes, "Oh, hello, Skrull." Pop. It's like, oh, goddamn, okay.
Yeah, she was definitely one of the high points of that series.
Not that there were that many
Yeah.
out of the very few high points of that series. Other than maybe you needing to be high to watch it. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Now, we have some possible release dates for some Disney Plus shows.
Okay.
I know you're
Sure.
excited about this first one.
Uh-huh.
Agatha, The Darkhold Diaries.
Sure. Yeah, lay it on me, man.
September 19th, 2024. With a
See my
trailer
excitement?
dropping soon.
Yay.
Ironheart, January 2025. Once again, I'm excited for this one with, Mephisto and the Hood having the whole science versus magic. Hopefully she gets a better looking costume in this, but I'm looking forward to it.
I was previously excited for this prior to seeing how they did her dirty in Black Panther 2. That character deserves better than that.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. Now,
So I'm tentatively looking forward to it.
here's the big one. Daredevil Born Again, October 2025.
That long? We have to wait until October of next year for that?
Supposedly. Now,
All right.
I've also seen these two flip-flopped, saying we're getting Daredevil Born Again in January, and Ironheart in the fall of 2025.
That would make way more sense because I feel like having seen Daredevil in the Echo series, to me, that says that they were doing something Daredevil related more recently than they would be doing, anything else.
And from what we've heard, they've wanted to kind of, Ironheart is going to lead into Armor Wars a bit. So pushing that further down the road to get it closer to the Armor Wars movie makes more sense. So hopefully that is flip-flopped. But I've seen multiple saying it's this way and only one or two saying it was the other way. And here's the worst news of all.
Okay.
Wonder Man is getting delayed to 2026. Just sick and wrong.
Oh no! Oh, Keith. Oh,
First the Nightcrawler, and now this? Doug, come on. And now another Disney Plus rumor series. Strange Academy. Which, if you've ever seen the comic, it's like Doctor Strange teaching young magic users.
Okay.
Now, the lead in this is going to be Wong.
Okay.
And it is going to have a story that is going to tie directly to Avengers 5.
Will Ned be in it?
He better.
Learning some magic. He better. Yes, indeed. Also, we need the greatest character from She-Hulk. Wong's best friend, Madison, but not spelled the way that you think. If she can just be there to help out. She doesn't have any magic skills. She's just there to hang out with Wong and be like, Wongers, when are you gonna be done?
Are you done training them? We totally have to watch the latest episode of Game of Thrones.
Madison, I told you you have to stop borrowing the sling ring.
But I needed popcorn and Dove bars. Now, this is not confirmed. I don't think. We are getting 2 MCU shows
Mm-hmm.
outside of Agatha this year on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Eyes of Wakanda, which is that sort of Black Panther throughout history and how they've always kind of been here and there doing certain things. Sounds like an interesting show. Don't know anything more about it that much. I know Ryan Coogler is producing. And then your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, previously known as Spider-Man Freshman Year. So those are both supposed to be released this year. I don't know when, but that would be cool. And now,
Yes, that would be.
while we are talking about animation, supposedly the Marvel Zombies TV show, which I don't know when it's releasing, is going to have an Infinity Hulk. Much like the Infinity Ultron and Infinity Killmonger from the What If series. I don't know how I feel about that because the Hulk has never been one to. He's the strongest Avenger. He doesn't need no puny glove. I don't know.
Right.
Seems a bit weird. Not sure I'm a big fan of that one. Not sure if it's even
I'm
true.
just not a big fan of them doing a zombie show.
You know, the comics are so popular, and it's never been one that I've really dug too much. But the Marvel Zombie episode of What If was pretty good. I did enjoy that a little bit, but
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know.
sure,
I don't know a
if
whole
that
series.
was it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think a whole series might be pushing it.
And now they might have a director for Spider-Man 4.
Okay.
James Wan, Aquaman's director.
Oh, why?
I don't know. I saw that, and once again, this is not confirmed in any way. It is a rumor out there, and I saw it, and I was like,
Let's keep that unconfirmed.
yes, let's make sure. Yes,
Confirmed in the negative. Like, let's not. No. Mm-mm.
Now the other half is that the Black Cat will appear, and obviously we've talked about it previously. The rumor that Sydney Sweeney will be playing her, which that would be acceptable.
That'd be perfect.
Yes, no problems there.
No, I could definitely see that.
And now here's the one. Sony Pictures
No.
has a new movie they're going to be in production soon.
Yeah.
This time it's not some obscure villain.
Okay.
Spider-Gwen. Live action Spider-Gwen.
Huh. Really?
Yeah, for Sony that is almost an odd choice because it makes sense. It's a popular character.
It is.
It could be,
They can do their own live action Spider-Man thing outside of Disney's MCU. God bless their poor little souls. You know, I wish them the best of luck. Sure.
Please don't make it as bad as Morbius. Sorry, Dave. And Madam Web. That's all we ask. If it's going to be better than those movies, that's not setting the bar high at all, Sony. So I think you can make it happen. Don't
Well,
make it as bad.
Does it need to be better or worse than Craven?
Well, since that got delayed again, I'm thinking Craven is going along the lines
Gee,
of.
Craven got delayed so they could make it better, okay?
Well, good. It needs.
They had to get Michael Keaton in there and get that vulture suit on him.
Oh, he's going to rock it as Vulture. With the AI Michael Keaton voicing it in. It's going to be amazing. And now.
Yeah, you know that Spider-Man, we got to do a Sinister Six to get him.
The Sinister Six. What? Get Spider-Man.
I don't know, man. Just I read the script, whatever. So, do you have a good rumor now?
No, I'm done with the rumors.
Oh, okay.
But I got two
Wait, so that's what you ended on, some trash pile on fire that Sony's making another
No,
movie?
no, because I have some non-rumors now. This is the rumor mill rundown. We're
Oh,
talking actual confirmed castings now for the Fantastic Four.
okay. All right.
Are you ready?
Yes, please
Should I give
give
you
me something better.
should I give you the big I'll give you the lesser known one first.
All right. Okay.
Ralph Ineson has been cast as Galactus in the Fantastic Four. He was in Game of Thrones. He was in the Harry
Hmm.
Potter series. He's been in a lot. A very fine actor.
So I assume they did some like screen testing. They said, "Okay, can you kind of sound like a cloud?"
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Good.
This is an excellent casting. I heard that, and they had been hinting that Antonio Banderas and Javier Bardem and Liam Neeson were all in the running. And a lot of people said that Liam Neeson has an MCU role, and they were thinking it was Galactus. And then this came out today, confirmed by THR, Deadline, and a few other of the bigwigs. So it sounds like this is happening. He was great in Game of Thrones. He was great in Harry Potter. He was actually a Ravager in Guardians of the Galaxy. So he's already been in the MCU. So now he's going to be doing the voice of Galactus. Now
And
this
he's gonna
next one,
say, "Good, this is a cloud."
I hunger. Give me tacos. No, no. Now this is the big one. This is the one I have not heard any rumors on. No
Okay.
one was talking about it. It was confirmed today by Deadline
Okay.
and then by Variety and a few others. I did not.
And nobody's posting about it?
Well, no, people are posting about it now, but there was
Oh,
no. A lot of times, like there's rumors going around that someone's about to get a role, and then it's confirmed by these major sites. I heard nothing about this actor getting an MCU role, and nothing
okay.
about him even being close to the Fantastic Four. John Malkovich
Hmm.
has joined the cast of the Fantastic Four in an undisclosed role.
Okay.
My first thought was the Mole Man, because
Huh.
we've heard rumors that the beginning of this movie is going to be the Fantastic Four dealing with the Mole Man, like they did in the first issue of the Fantastic Four comic. And I was like, okay, maybe he's going to be the Mole Man. Maybe he's going to be Alicia Masters' stepdad, the Puppet Master. Maybe he's going to be Doom. I can't imagine John Malkovich being Doctor Doom, but who knows? Maybe he wants to be in a bunch of movies and make a ton of money. But I mean, he's such a fine actor, and he always does such, great roles. I'm very happy he joined, and I hope it's a big enough role to make it worth his time and to just be absolutely entertained by him in the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's all we got tonight, folks. Yeah,
Oh,
you seem disappointed. Was is that not enough rumors for you, sir? Do you want me to should we make some up?
I mean, yeah, obviously we should. What's a good rumor mill rundown without some homebrew, not your status quo rumors?
This one is the craziest one I could I mean, I've heard.
And it's true. It's absolutely true.
Gal-
We've got sources or secret sources. We can't tell you who they are, where they're from, but they're true. It's absolutely true. 100%. We got people on the set.
Galactus is not
Uh-huh.
going to be a cloud.
No,
I know, it's crazy. I told you.
that doesn't even make any sense. I'm not even going to see it then. What is scarier than a cloud, Keith? Not
Nothing.
nothing. Nothing. I know.
Not only
Obvious.
a cloud that devours planets.
Exactly. So spooky. Ugh. What you gonna tell me that the next superhero movie isn't gonna have a sky beam in it?
That is the next rumor. Deadpool and Wolverine will not have a sky beam in it.
Oh,
It'll have it'll have three.
okay. All coming out of Deadpool in undisclosed orifices. You guess which ones.
Good stuff.
Oh man. Good rumors. Good rumors. Mostly.
Yeah,
Some good, others I don't care about.
yeah. There's some
And like I
that.
said, when it comes to like casting rumors, I'm usually up in the air about it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Wait until I see it. We'll see if it's. I will judge the actor whether they can fulfill the role when I see, like an initial trailer when I actually see the film. Um, I wasn't sure about Joaquin Phoenix as a Joker, but you know what? I was sold on him the minute I saw that. It was just test footage. That's all it was. He didn't say anything. They just had him, and then they played what was that song? Laughing,
Yes, I think. Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
and it was just like a short, maybe 13-second clip, and they go him looking kind of like crazy to angry, just and the flip like that. I was like, oh, okay, he can pull off facial expressions perfect and flip emotions just like that. I'm sold on him. So until I see something with the actor being a character, I'm so indifferent towards casting rumors.
I need to be that way too because I'm not good at. I hear someone's name and I just that makes no sense. I hate it. Unbelievable. Or others, I'm like that is perfect casting,
And
and
that's
it turns
fine.
out to
That's
be
fine. You
trash.
you can be like that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't.
I need to be more even keel, Doug. I need to trust the process sometimes.
I don't know about that. I
Well, I
think
guess it depends
sometimes
on
you
whose
need to have somebody
process.
that doesn't.
When it's Sony introducing, we've decided to make a who is the worst like Spider-Man villain besides El Murto, who they were going to make a film about.
Ugh. Let's see here. Who would be? I think so far the worst has been the actor that they got to portray Green Goblin in, or I guess Son of Green Goblin in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Um, I thought that that was poorly done. They didn't even set up that he existed in that universe. We barely got to meet a Norman Osborn, let alone Harry Osborn, and all of a sudden he just like they're like, oh shit, we need an actor to play Harry Osborn. Let's put him in, and they had to like do the whole. We've known each other for a really long time. Thank you, movie, for telling me. And then the horrible makeup job that they did when he, became the Green Goblin. It was just god awful. Like,
What
what,
was his
what?
name? Dane DeHaan or something?
I think so. I think that was, yeah. But I think that was a poor casting choice.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
There was
they do
several
some bad jobs,
choices
yeah.
in that.
Then they do some great ones.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, Chris Evans, Charlie Cox.
Yes. Yes. I do. I like that you had mentioned earlier you called Hugh Jackman Wolverine just because, like, he's essentially become Wolverine at this point.
I
Ryan Reynolds and Wolverine were hanging out.
I really do feel bad for whoever takes over that role because you talk about almost impossible shoes to fill.
Hmm.
But you know what? They get the right person, and he does a good job. It'll all be good because nobody thought. I mean,
They're letting some Australian guy be Wolverine. That's never gonna work.
there was he was talking about. I think he was on the Graham Norton show. I saw a clip. I don't watch the Graham Norton show on a regular basis.
Hmm.
I've never even seen it. I only see clips on Instagram. But he was telling a story about when he got cast. Like he was in the United States and he did his thing, and they're like, you know what, we're going with you, but don't tell anyone you've actually been cast because he had to come back. He didn't have his work visa, so he
Hmm.
couldn't say he had the role yet. He was just supposed to say he was auditioning. And I guess he came by and he goes, I'm a terrible liar. And they asked me at customs, what? And I slipped up and I basically said I had got this role. And they said, oh, well, what role or whatever. And he goes, oh, it's for an X-Men movie. And they're like, oh, animation or something? He goes, no, it's a live action X-Men movie. And they're like, who are you playing? He's like, Wolverine. And they were like, what? And the guy like called his buddy over. He goes, hey, this guy's going to be playing Wolverine and stuff. And it was such you know, a nice little story. But you're right. People were like, why did they cast an Australian guy to play Wolverine? And then
He's too tall.
Wolverine's only 5'4". This is a
And
bunch
he's
of
short
BS.
and he's ugly.
But we should probably it is 10:15. We might find
Oh
somebody
wow.
to raid here. For those of you watching us out on YouTube, raiding is something you do on Twitch, where you take the people
Hmm.
watching and you go to another channel and you show them somebody you like. So if you're watching us on YouTube, this doesn't make much sense, but we're just going to send all of our viewers to see somebody else, someone we appreciate and like as a streamer. Oh, and the Star Wars Underground is on
Oh yeah.
with
It looks like
zero.
they must have just started. I see 0 people.
So let's raid them.
All right. And they're talking Tales of the Empire. So while I am waiting for you to input that information, I will give my breakdown and review of Tales of the Empire. Ready?
I am, sir.
Well, I watched Tales of the Empire when it aired, and it was a show, and it was fine. Um, it was mostly harmless. Uh, it had the animation was good,
Animation was
and
great.
that's about it.
Yeah, stories that unfortunately really didn't. It didn't do what like the Count Dooku Tales of the Jedi did, where it filled in backstory and made the character so much better. I mean, the Morgan Elsbeth one was everything that we probably outside of the the cool scene of the General Grievous attacking
Yes.
Dathomir. It was pretty much like, yeah, we could have all guessed this. This is nothing
Yeah.
phenomenal or great. Okay,
And it's
great.
not like she was, the character that everybody has been dying to know more about. When they said that it was the Tales of the Empire was going to focus on Morgan Elsbeth and oh my God, what is her name again?
Barasafi.
Bear Sophie. When they said those are the two characters, I'm like, really? That out of everybody that you could focus in on, that's who you chose. Okay, weird, but whatever. And then the fact that these two were only kind of like tangentially had anything to do with the Empire. It's like, why then call it Tales of the Empire?
The only thing that made me very interested about Barasafi, and unfortunately they dropped the ball on it,
Hmm.
was her joining the Inquisitors. When I saw that's the route they were going, I was like,
She was there for like 2 seconds.
right, but we didn't know that leading into it. When we
Right,
heard that was
yeah,
going
yeah.
on, and they showed Vader in the trailer, which turned out to be his entire scene from the thing, I was like, this is going to get dark like the Vader comics with the
That's what I
Inquisitors.
thought too.
And this is going to be great. And then it was nothing like that at all.
Keith, Vader walked in and nobody lost a limb. How can you even call this an Inquisitor show?
And they didn't even focus anything on the fact that Anakin was the one who figured out it was Barriss who did it and
I
not
think I think he
Ahsoka.
might have like looked at her for a second.
Yeah, and I was like, when he came in, I'm like, okay, so
That was it.
he's gonna be extra
I
jerky to
expected
her.
a force choke, like throw her in the air or something.
Yeah, and it was funny because to me too, it also, speaking of the Force choke, seeing her
Hmm.
use the Force choke to win that duel to become an Inquisitor,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, they're taking her down a very dark path. And then immediately she was like, oh, don't be mean to
I
these
don't want to be
people.
mean.
Yeah, I was like, that kind of didn't make sense. Like using a dark side power like that to win that duel,
Mhm.
and then instantly sort of, it just,
Yeah, didn't she snap his neck?
yeah. So I don't know. It just didn't make that much. I expected something different. And while,
Yeah.
like you said, it wasn't bad, it was fine. It just, after Tales of the Jedi, this was
It didn't really live up to it, you
it,
know?
it was a disappointment. I enjoyed it on a Doug scale. If we're gonna let's give it a Doug scale before we
Okay.
bust out of here. I'm going to say it was probably a 5.2 out of 10. Just very slow, and the only reason it is above average is because the animation was so really well done. I thought the music was great, voice acting was good, but the story was about as vanilla as you could possibly get talking
Oh
about
yeah.
those characters, I think.
And for me, yeah, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Again, pretty much the same reasons. Um, to me, the animation was good, but like I said when we were talking about the animation that we saw in the Bad Batch, that's kind of the direction they've been going in. That's what I expect at this point. It would be weird for it to be worse. So, yeah, 5 out of 10. It was fine.
I will definitely watch Tales of the Jedi multiple times before I watch Tales of the Empire again.
Same.
But what's going to be next? Are we getting Tales of the Bounty Hunters? Are we getting Tales of the Sith?
Tales of the Bounty Hunter, and then they'll show like two unrelated people that just met with a bounty hunter one time.
I tried to hire Bosk and he wouldn't have anything to do with it. So
Right.
I kicked a rock down the street and then I saw Boba Fett flying overhead. Man, this day sucks. Well, if you're out in the chat, let us know what you thought of Tales of the Empire. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was mid, to put it in a youthful vernacular, like Doug and I did? But we are going to raid the Star Wars Underground, so stick around, enjoy what they've got going, and we will see you all. Well, maybe we'll see you all next Thursday. We might also be at the theater review. We don't know yet. So you'll either see us next Thursday or you won't. But we'll be back in 2 weeks, maybe, or on Sunday. Who knows? We like to keep things interesting. We don't, just when you think you know the answer, we change the questions. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see y'all soon.